Hey guys, welcome back to the final episode of This Round is on Me for 2022. I can't believe it. It's already the end of the year. How this year has gone by. And so I was really thinking hard about whom to have on the big year end episode and the whole look back episode, and I racked my brains and who's gonna make a great guest, etc. And then I finally actually came down to inviting Jay. And for those of you who still haven't figured this out, even though I've talked about him a number of times throughout the last 2.5 years of this show, Jay is my husband and business partner in food matters. And I just figured that, who better? I haven't actually spent as much time with anyone else, both personally and professionally, as I have with him. And so I just figured that if we are going to talk about all the highs, lows, and milestones of the year, then who better than him, right? So, Jay, you are the only person to have made it twice to this show. I don't know if you realize what a
I
big deal
think
that is. So
so.
thank you
Mm.
for coming to the studio and doing this. And we're going to take a quick break and be right back with a very fun, I hope, and not too intense conversation.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcasts Network. On Cyrus Says, the OG squad of Cyrus, Amit, and Antariksh is back for episode 1100. They answer some fun AMA questions and give out awards in some crazy categories for 2022. On Think Fast, entrepreneur Vidur Singhal joins Suchita as a temporary co-host. They talk about ChatGPT, the FIFA World Cup, and more. On The Origin of Things, Deepak drops hints about the most famous doctor, but nobody has ever heard of him. Find out what song he's talking about by tuning into the episode. And on The Longest Constitution, Priya looks back at an iconic case of Menaka Gandhi versus Union of India from 1977. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcasts.com. We have some exciting stuff for you. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our show, spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. You'll also find our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Capgemini and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible.
And we are back with Jay Yousuf and Gauri Devidayal on This Round is on Me. And this is the final episode of 2022. And we are going to be looking back at the year that was. So, welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, the big question, how was 2022 for you?
you know, interestingly, it was a fun, great year, I think, especially for our business. I mean, what we went through 21, the
Yeah,
it
the
was
benchmark was pretty low at
pretty
21.
low.
So,
Yeah,
everything essence feels like it was amazing.
absolutely. Yeah, and especially for our industry, what we went through in 21 and 22 was bright. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have to dig a little
Yeah.
deeper than that. I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about some of the highlights or the memorable times of the year for you.
Of this year, 22. Yeah, like you said, 21 was such a challenging time, especially for our industry. 22 started very well, and I mean, I think especially for the industry as general F&B, which what I can talk about, was very interesting because the people who survived and the shop, the one who kept their restaurant, were able to keep it open. I had a very interesting, very great year for them. And I think we forgot what was COVID all about. I mean, I really don't remember. I do remember at the time of the COVID, the challenges that we had to go through with, I didn't even know that we'll make it to 22. So now we are here, and all the good things have happened, and many good things have come this year. I mean, I'm so surprised. I can't understand. Even this end of this year, there's so many things which are happening in our lives, especially when it comes to business. Uh, I'd really forgotten what 21 was
Yeah.
for us.
So we, for those of you who may not know this, we opened a cafe in October 21, and that was the sort of third avatar of a space that we had a restaurant in, or two different restaurants in before, and finally it's now feels like it's settled with the cafe. And I remember, in the beginning of 22 was we were dealing with Omicron, right? And that we just thought we'd come out of the woods, but then there was this sort of third wave sort of looming, and we were like, what's going on? And it was also 3 months, around 3 months of the cafe, and it's there's this sort of I don't think I've shared this on the show before, but when we were in the second avatar of the space, or before we opened the cafe, someone we were in discussions with to open a restaurant there had insisted on having a Vastu consultant come in and see the space. And basically, long story short, he had said that you really shouldn't do anything here. And the whole sort of impression we were left with was that if we do open something here, it'll be great for the first 3 months because that's all the excitement and hype of opening a new place. But then it's gonna start going downhill because that's the nature of that space.
Yeah, yeah.
And that would have been around Jan 22, right? So I know that I don't know. Did you believe that, or do you remember that?
We had a very bad experience with that space, right? With Misty, with all the funfair, all of us getting into it, especially working with an outside friends group who were restaurateurs and had done very well in Colaba. And coming together was such an excitement for both of us. And we worked out a concept that we felt like it'll work for Colaba. With the bar, focusing on the bar was such a big part of our business for Misty. Failing at Misty and then working towards the second concept, which was May 13. We started May 13 from 20, November 21,
No, November 19.
November 19 till 20 March when we opened the doors for 10 days. We had done everything possible from that space, right? And the struggle we had with our foreign expat chef for this new avatar, May 13, that was a challenging enough for us. I had given up on the space because with the COVID and all, and but I still felt like there is something about the space. And usually, as you know, I don't believe in any of this Vastu and all. But when the person who we were doing the third project in that space insisted that we have to get this done, and whether you believe it or not, you said, well, what's wrong with it? I mean, nothing can go wrong at this stage, and we agreed for this Vastu guy to come in. We were not there. You and me, we were traveling at that time, and got this full story from Bhushan, who was our manager at table, who was taking the Vastu person to the property, and what he heard and what he said. At that time, I had given up that space. I said, well, maybe he's right. Maybe there is something to do with this space. And then afterwards, it's lasted for a little bit, but after the hard work we had put together in that space, I felt like we have to give a try, one more try. And then when we worked out the concept, the final concept for the cafe, it made sense because it was tested. I mean, we had already, because of the COVID, we had started this brands on delivery brands. People had already started liking what we have done. So there was a feeling that if if it works this time, the third time around, it has to be the cafe, and it did work. So touch wood, um, and that made 22 much easier for us as a couple, uh, because we had invested so much, not just the money, the time, and the effort that we had put in this project. And the second thing is the money that we had invested in that project. And the failure would have not been good for us the third time around. So all that, if you look at it today, back 12 months ago, it worked out.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
so I was just saying that that Jan Feb time was when supposedly that thing was supposed to kick in. And, I agree. I'm so grateful that, we've crossed a year, a little over a year now of the cafe. And, the feedback that we get on, a regular basis has been overwhelmingly positive. And I just feel
Yeah.
like we finally, that space found its
It's the real true calling, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
And since then we went on to open a second space. This is the first time for us that we've done a second outlet of one of our brands, and so 22 was big for us in that sense. And this business is now 12 years old, or 13 if you count the year it took to set up the first restaurant, the table. And so to finally see, scale happening for us, even if it's just one more, has been, I think, a pretty big milestone, wouldn't you
It
say?
has. It has been. I mean, 2022 has been a very good year for both of us, as I said, in personal and in business. And one thing I just want to bring that Vastu back, just to share with you. I never believed in anything like that, and afterwards, we were so down with this project. Anything we were willing to believe it, but now after coming back on the other side, I really don't know.
I actually,
Yeah,
I don't know if I believe in it necessarily, and I don't understand it enough to say whether I believe in it or not. But
yeah,
um, I think that we did make some changes to that space unwittingly, not
yeah.
because of that, because, I think some of the
It
things that we
it
were
happened
told.
naturally. A
It
lot of
sort of
things have.
happened. I
uh,
think we did change some of the energy of that space, but without realizing whether it was doing that or not. We did it more from an aesthetic perspective.
yeah,
And yeah, maybe there is something, to that. But sometimes it takes a few tries before you get it right.
exactly. One thing I've learned from this is, if you believe in something, it's nothing wrong to try again and again, and eventually it works out, or it doesn't work out. So in this case, it did work out.
Well, that's definitely been the good side, and I guess one of the highlights. But what do you feel were one of the challenges?
Challenges of 22. So the challenges of 22 is now, okay, but the basic challenges that we are going through is the growth which has taken place in 22, especially in our industry, has become very hard, especially when it comes to staffing, uh, and keeping our staff or employees who have been with us, um, coming up with ideas to keep them in the company. I think that's the biggest challenge that we have faced in 22, and I think that'll continue in 23.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
I think that's fair. And I mean, look, people is what makes this business, and that's always been a challenge from the get go.
yeah,
It's not something new. But where we are, what happened in 22, I think it's fair to say, is that we moved from that, like you said, survival to a growth
yeah,
stage, scale, and one of the biggest lessons, if you remember, from when we opened Misty and then proceeded to close it, was that the people and how guests felt when they came, because what they expected from the familiarity of the table and how they were made to feel there, they didn't have that same feeling. Not
Yeah.
because there was anything lacking in team members, but it was just that sense of familiarity, which is so fundamental to hospitality. That feeling of being taken care of by people who know you.
People who
And
know.
yeah,
Yes,
and
yeah.
we, I think, underestimated that, which was a fundamental mistake in when we opened the second restaurant. So that was something that we were very conscious of when we were doing either May 13 or then the cafe. And that's the bigger problem now when it comes to scale as well, right? When you're doing new spaces
Yeah.
and you want to continue to retain that sense of familiarity, it means using your existing team to grow with your with the pace of growing new projects,
Yeah.
but being able to hold on to that familiarity and be able to scale that as well. I think that's where
Yeah.
the real challenge is. Uh, and it continues to be. And with the, I mean, we're not the only people going through a growth phase. There's everyone in our industry
Everyone. Yeah.
is. It's amazing. I mean, but that just means that the supply demand equation has changed significantly, and things have opened up even internationally. And it definitely is one of the challenges.
Like you said, the challenges. Every time when there's a growth, there is a challenge, which comes with the growth. And it's a good challenge to have, I guess.
I know that that's where both of us can sometimes have disagreements, is where I feel like growth is where we might end up sort of shooting ourselves in the foot with growing too quickly, too fast, too big, too fast. And you are a little more bullish on this. So what's your take? How do you sort of feel like you can address this challenge, given that?
I think being in the industry, which was so new to us for last 12 years, and it has been a big learning experience. I think this is my longest, even when I was in my telecom business, that was long, but I feel like what I have learned in this business is all with experiencing day to day and learning every day. That was not the same in my past telecom job. So um, I feel a little bullish because, hey, once we have done and done it successfully, I feel like we can do it again because you have learned something. You have a product that people have appreciated or liking it. Um, so replicating that is not that of a new thing. It's just um, putting together what has worked for us in the past, the same thing going forward. So
In theory, yes,
yeah,
but I think practically executing it is
yeah,
definitely.
but you have the template, right? You have the experiences. You have gone through all that challenges that you have overcome the challenges. So it'll be a little bit easier because there will be always surprises. You never know what could be with the growth. I mean, you and me, we are one each. I mean, projects can grow from one to now four, and we are looking two more projects in the future, which we can talk about. So, but it gives you a little bit of a confidence that you have done it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
you hopefully don't make all the same mistakes
Same mistakes,
again,
yeah.
and that obviously reduces. But like you said, there's going to be other things.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest challenges for me has been, of course, growing teams for sure, but definitely at a more senior level as well, right? Because it's always been you and me from the get go, and I think there was a sort of significant gap between us and then the next level down, because we were, I I feel like, in startup mode for a long time, probably longer than we should have been, but I didn't have a blueprint for what should happen when. And then of course we got thrown off a lot by the last 2 years of COVID. But now we're in that, like you said, growth phase, and so we're looking to, you and I as two people can't possibly be scaling and not growing the team at a sort of senior level as well. And I think that's actually been our biggest challenge and continues to be, where we can't replicate each other, and yet that's the natural sort of feeling that we have. But what's that been like for you?
See, the way I see is, of course, if you have one restaurant and you want to grow your team, so there is a limitations. I mean, you can't have a full team hoping that you'll have few restaurants in the future. So you have to go grow your team as well as your business, right? So that's the challenge I feel like. So when do you go and hire right people? Obviously, the right people come at a cost. So how how much of that cost, that unknown, you can take up while you're growing the business? That's where, yeah, we are not at the startup stage, but I feel like we still are a little bit in a startup stage phase, because we do have some team members that
So
can.
to really make that investment, you
Yeah,
mean it's not something you can just do from your existing business,
exactly.
and it's a chicken and egg, because
What comes? Yeah,
you want to invest in building a right team, but then where do you make that investment from is,
from, yeah.
yeah.
And why, when you make that investment, there's a timeline also, right? We have done what we have done for 2022, or all the way from 2011 with Table. Um, I think we have learned. I think we are in a space where we have executed one, and with the Table, the first project, and the second project with the cafe. I feel like we have learned a lot, and we can, um, from our learning, I think we can do a few more projects. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's where we've. It's been a bit of a bone of contention, but
Mm.
yeah, I mean, just sort of going a little deeper into this issue, or at least this aspect in 2022. Uh, how would you sort of describe your, uh, you know, learnings, I guess, from working with a few senior people that we've hired? Like, do you feel like there was a learning process for you in what you would do better or differently
Mm. You
going
know,
forward?
so since in 2022, you're talking about the people that we hired on the management level that we never used to have before, because you and me were the main bodies behind, I mean, main decision makers in the past. So when we started looking, as you know, when we started looking for people um, who are in the industry, um, getting the right one has been again the biggest challenge, right? We tried once. This person we had high hopes for had come all the way from Bangalore. The things, what he had done in the past with his experiences, we felt like this will be the right guy for us to take uh, our um, our
The business
the
forward, yeah.
business forward. But um, it's like you and me have got um, acquainted, or we have learned how to work together. It's not the same with the third person. And when you already have a high expectation from that person, it's a little bit difficult when you're not getting the output that you expected from that person. So that the first person didn't work out. It was a very short stint for him, and we both realized that it's not working for both of us. So that was a disappointment and waste of time, because we wasted about 2-3 months for
I don't know if it's a waste. I think actually we learned a lot of what then you don't want,
don't
or
want
what
from that
to,
person.
or what you do need rather, not what you don't. Yeah, but
Yeah.
same thing. And I think that all helps, because then it makes you a little more
Absolutely.
savvy when it comes to
Absolutely. And
the
then
hiring.
we hired this second person who has worked out better than the first person. Then again, you have to understand um, a, a managerial position, there's a cost for it. So we have to identify how much a company can afford to and bring that person. That's a challenge that you started your first question from. Let's take the example of the people who have worked out very well, who have come uh, on a very low positions and they have grown and they have adopted this company. They are working very well because we have trained. I think you and me have mentored them what we want them to be. So that would have been that is easier, but the process is very long
Mm.
because it takes time to groom someone like what you want them to be. But in the business, do we have time? When you're growing, you can't groom someone uh, and wait for 3 4 years for that person to take charge of what you're looking for.
So I
So
think that's where you kind of, make that decision of the pace at which you want to grow
yeah,
based on, the team that you have to
yeah.
help you get there.
I again, if you think about the pace, I mean, the opportunities come. Um, you can't control the pace. I mean, if there is something comes, and you have to bite the bullet and go ahead and do it, and that's a process, that a learning process that we go through in every business.
So, of course, you and I work together, and I think our days become one big blur in terms of, the time that we spend together at work. And I mean, to some extent, but then there's obviously life outside of work. And it seems like I think it's fair to say that sort of on balance, 2022 was great for work, and we've survived. We more than survived.
Mm.
What do you think on a personal level? How would you rate 2022?
You know, when something is going good, I mean, especially when the amount of time that you and me spend with our business is so much, and there's so much that this business takes from both of us, and you're getting the results. I mean, we survived the COVID. We managed to stay in business, not only to stay in business, but to grow in this business. And I think that takes some sacrifices to happen. So you can't get both. But I think we are doing okay to balance it together. And yes, of course, I have a lot more um, complaints or uh,
Demands, some would
demands,
say.
more demands, because having a wife like you who's a business partner, not only it stops at the business partner, but what are you doing just now? What are you doing a podcast, and that is also a little bit have to. I mean, I have to accept it. I mean, it's tough in the beginning, but now I've felt like, hey, there are different things that people want to do, and all I can do is support you. Uh, and if you're good at certain things, I really have no way of stopping you from that. Yeah.
So you do know this is exactly why I invited you on this show. This is the whole year-end thing was all a
I,
big
I
scam,
think so.
and
Just making me part of it. So
yeah, I'm like, come and see what I do. Come to my other workplace
that would
and
be,
and experience it.
yeah.
No, I mean, it's if you were to ask me, I think I do consider, if this is sort of, I don't know if this is professional or not, the podcast, but for me, I think that's been 2022. I mean, it's been more than 2 years of doing this show, but I think 2022 it's just gotten better, and
Yeah.
I've sort of found my own even more than the previous year, and I love doing it. And yes, it's definitely a big investment of time and effort, and it is sometimes a challenge between deciding about work versus the sort of official work
Yeah.
and this. But yeah, I don't know. It's I think this has definitely been one of my highlights this year.
No, I agree with you. And you're good at it.
Oh, thank you.
And when something, um, when you have found something which is making you, are not just good at it, making you satisfied with what you're doing and enjoying it. And maybe I resisted in the beginning, because I didn't understand what you're trying to do. What is this podcast? I mean, what is this for and all? So now the things have changed. There's one more media. There's one more way of expressing, and all I can say is
We
I'm
spent lots of money on therapy, Jay, just
Yeah.
to get to this place.
I'm understanding it. I'm understanding. I'm understanding, and I see why, and what makes you so exciting, and then you're enjoying it. So I have to be part of that enjoyment.
Yeah. No, I think, it's true that when you kind of accept and support something that isn't necessarily benefiting you and the business, it actually motivates me to then, give my all to the business, because I also accept that, I'm taking away that time from it to do something else which I just enjoy and might seem like a passion project. So yes, well, thank you for that. And and hopefully many more years of the show.
Hmm.
But so it seems overall 2022 was good. Personally, professionally, we managed to do a lot of travel. You're a big America fiend, and having lived there for so long, and we went back after 4 years
After 4 years,
this
yeah.
summer. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely maybe not the same experience that it's been in previous years, but that was fun. We went to a new country, Mexico. I think that was
We went to a new country.
amazing.
We went to a
Oh
new
yeah, we went to
continent.
Australia as well. Lots of new travel.
Yeah,
I think that is. I love travel. I think we both love travel,
yeah.
and going to new places is always high on the bucket list. So
I agree.
I
Yeah.
loved that part of it. Where else did we do any other firsts in 2022?
No, these are the two, country and continent. I mean, yeah. Then we did our usual Maldives and small.
That was last
Yeah.
year, Jay.
Oh, okay.
So you still have a few days to make it happen in 2022 if you want. We had COVID. We started the year with COVID.
Yeah.
That was definitely a
Hmm.
not ideal start to the year, but got it out of the way. And yeah, so I think overall,
No, it was fun. We had a good time. And personally, and since we both love traveling, it was a good year for traveling also. So I love it. I love traveling, and that's one thing makes me sane. Is just to get away, leave Bombay, take that little break, recharge, and come
except,
back.
by the way, there's this running, it's not a joke actually, because it's a fact that every single time we go away on holiday, someone in the company resigns.
No, not someone in the company. Someone important for the company.
Everyone's
resigns.
important.
Yeah,
Come
but
on, it's not like
Yeah.
everyone that
Yeah.
we're just like, oh, you can go, it's fine. But it always happens. It's like
Yeah.
this curse.
And probably they
It's like I
wait
want
for
to go away. I want to go on holiday, but I don't want to go on holiday because the curse is yet
No,
to be
no.
broken.
I think this is how it works.
And if anyone from the company is listening to this, like, take note. This is your chance to break the curse and leave us alone on holiday.
No, I feel like when they find out that we are traveling, if they want to quit, so they
Oh, they're like, oh, let's not.
let's
We don't
wait
have to face them. We don't have to do it when they're there.
yeah,
Let's do it when they're not there,
not
and then
there.
they can't call us in for a meeting and like try and talk us out of it, right? That's
Exactly.
basically
That's
it.
how I feel like they're waiting for us to take that trip so that they can resign. So, which is not a good feeling, guys. our goals. Please don't do that next time. If you want to resign, please resign before we travel, before we go on a
Or
trip,
wait till we're back.
or wait till
Exactly.
we are back. I think it's better you wait till we come back. At least we'll have a nice uh, trip,
A nice vacation
night
in
vacation,
denial.
so we can, then we can come and deal with it much.
Okay, well, let's look forward now
Yeah,
to 23.
yeah,
I am excited for the year. Always, this time of the year is always fun. Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's, and it's a great time for the business. And
great weather in Bombay.
well, I don't know about
But
that
this
right
year,
now.
yeah, yeah,
But it's just generally everyone's in a good mood, in holiday mode, and in a sort of possibly more relaxed state of mind, and winding down, reviewing, but also looking forward. So, yeah, what do you have lined up for 23 for yourself, and the business?
what I'm looking forward for 23 personally. Um, I'm more calm. I mean, I have accepted. Uh,
You
there,
are actually.
yeah, there was a time when I was struggling with the city because I felt like it's not my city, and what am I doing in Bombay?
Opening a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, and yeah, the business side. I'll come back to business side. On the personal side, that was my struggle. But somehow, after COVID, um, when I went back to US, I told you about this. We had this discussion. For some reason, I felt disconnected with what's happening in New York and San Francisco. Um, the country had changed. I mean, in every way. Um, but if you look at it, what India has gone through, I feel like there has no difference. People have forgotten about COVID in India, but San Francisco or U.S. has been the effect is still lingering around. So that made me appreciate what I have, um, what this country is about, and accepting it. So it has made it a little easier for me. So it's good. Maybe it's 12 years of living in this country. I mean, 14 years of living in this city. Um, Now I'm more comfortable. I feel like I could call myself uh,
A Mumbaikar?
Bombaiker. So uh, no, that's been on the personal side. On the business side, 2023, really, I feel like it's exciting time for our industry, and um, there are some surprises that we both are working on, and hopefully.
Can we
Um,
reveal anything?
No, let's wait because first of all, I have to convince you to agree on this because we are still. I mean, I don't know. Like I come up with a plan of a new project. It takes me 2, 3, 4 months, sometimes or longer, to convince Gauri to be on board. So I'm at that stage with 2023, this new projects which I have brought to the table, and I'm still working on you. So hopefully there'll be time that
Okay, so there will be we will reveal
the
at the right
reveal.
time.
Yeah,
But I think yeah, I mean we're in growth mode, and hopefully that continues
yeah,
in
yeah,
23 at a pace that we can
yeah.
not kill each other at.
No,
And
no. As not only being in the industry for 12 years and having,
that's a big one, by the way. So the table
yeah,
turns 12 in
12,
Jan. I mean,
exactly.
it feels like the year just keeps, each year just keeps passing. But someone the other day was saying to me, dude, 12 years is
It's a long
a
time.
long time,
And
and don't take that for granted. So,
12 years are a long time in dog years and restaurant
yeah.
years, I guess. And even we made a joke about people leaving us while we travel. There are some people who have stayed with us, and the team has grown. And um,
Yeah, there's a
yeah,
shout out to everyone who's been there forever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing.
and this team that we have today, I'm so proud of them. They're
I
taking that
agree.
ownership. I mean, they're part of it. I mean, without them, I don't think you and me would have come this far.
Yeah,
Yep.
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
that. So big thank you and shout out to them. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Um, I have something exciting to announce for 2023. So
Yeah.
I have been working with a dear friend on a book.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
that I think
That
is,
I know.
yeah, luckily you know about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge, exciting thing for me, which will hopefully be out if all goes to plan by the end of Jan. And you're hearing it here first.
Yeah.
So for those few people who do listen to my show, you just got some big breaking news. But no, it's I will reveal more about the book soon. Rest assured, it is not a cookbook. I wouldn't know what to write, but it does have something to do with the restaurant. So I'm thrilled to bits. And we're in that like last phase now where it's it's the production phase, and so it's just it's I can't describe how exciting it is. But to me, it's probably the excitement that you get opening a restaurant. I've got, getting from the
Writing this book.
production of the book and it coming so close to
You know,
fruition.
funny you brought this up. Now I have to ask this audience of yours, where do you get that time? Who's the loser here?
Ha ha.
So, is your husband is so boring that you need
Yeah,
to
I decided
find
to write a book, do a
the right
podcast, and yeah.
podcast and yeah,
No,
yeah, run a
I
restaurant?
think that's one of the perils
Mm,
of working together,
mm,
if there ever was one, is that then you know the time that you
mm,
don't do work, you don't necessarily spend together. But to be fair to you, I mean, when we're
mm.
working together, that's not considered hanging out together.
Yeah,
So we have our very different roles at work, and we might physically be in the same space, but we're doing our own thing. And
yeah.
hopefully, once the book's out, Jay, yeah,
You'll have extra time.
I'll have extra time.
Yeah.
I'll have spare time,
Spare
which
time.
I can slot you in.
Yeah. So,
No, but anyway, I'm very, very excited about that, and I'm sure you'll hear more about that on Instagram and wherever very, very soon. So stay tuned on that one.
I know. This you've been working on this
Yeah,
for
it's
almost.
been like I think 3 years, if not longer. It was definitely 2019 we started
2019.
working on this, and
Mm,
obviously paused during COVID, and then
yeah.
resumed again. And it was just it's been a while, but of course, writing's not something that comes to me naturally. So it's been a long process, and
Really, I'm quite excited to see the final product. Yeah.
yes, soon all will be revealed. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's happening? What do you see exciting happening in the restaurant industry at large? I mean, of course, you don't necessarily want to talk about what we might be doing in 2023 because we're still figuring it out for ourselves. But what do you see happening in like the restaurant industry in Bombay, India?
Generally, as a restaurant industry as a whole, I don't know what's happening outside India, but there's a lot of things happening in India, especially this young chefs coming up. I mean, I've never seen the quality and the how do I say, the excitement in their what they're doing, being part of their journey, and enjoying the new chefs, the upcoming chefs,
The
their
innovation and yeah.
innovation in this industry, especially in India, especially cities like Bombay, Delhi, and Goa. Goa is a big, guys. Check it out. So what's happening there? It's a really interesting time for, um, Indian F&B was like a very cookie cutter. Everyone was trying to do the same thing. It's something works. There were people behind doing the same thing, replicating it. But no, the innovation right now, what is happening in the industry is very different, and I've never seen this in the past, especially in the standalone, especially with young upcoming chefs. Lovely, lovely, and it's a good time to be
in the business.
in the business.
I had a chat. I had Rahul on the show, Chef Rahul Akekar on the show a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how a lot of young chefs, as you
Mhm.
said, are getting into the business of becoming executive chefs, head chefs of restaurants, starting their own businesses. What do you feel about that? What's your take? I mean, you're not a chef, you're a restaurateur, you're from, you look at it more from the business side. He had his point of view of, that you need to put in the years to build that experience before you venture into your own business. What's your take on that?
I it's it's not easy for me to answer that question because I'm not a chef, as you said, and neither you are. The way we have taken this industry or this business is what I want to see in a restaurant if I'm a guest. So when you walk into the table, you will feel the feeling, the menu, everything from the minute you enter or you leave the restaurant is how you need to be treated as a guest. So that's what we have done. We have achieved. I think because I can say that we have achieved because we have survived for 12 years. Is that. So it was easier as a businessman for me, who had done a successful business in San Francisco, to bring the same ideas and incorporate with F&B. And that's as a businessman. But as a chef, I have no idea how um, um, what you want to be different from the other chefs. I think that's a tough one. I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, it's really a challenging time to be a chef because there's so much innovation in how do you say this? So much new things coming in this industry, and there are so fabulous chefs out there, male and female. I mean, in this country.
Yeah, there's definitely a
Yeah,
growing number of women chefs out there, and I think
yeah.
that's amazing. Not
Which
that I kind of want to segregate on gender or anything, but I do feel like it's, and there always have been, but I think they're coming forward more and they're sort of being
and
recognized more.
expressing what?
It's
Yeah,
not like we've not had women chefs out there, but it's just I think they're getting their due
yeah.
recognition now. I hate this word, but I'm going to ask you anyway because every person asks this at the end of the year. But like, what are the trends that you foresee in the industry next year?
I think simplicity. Uh, um, that's what has worked for all these years, and e- um, even what I've learned from table or cafe, keeping it simple is what, as a businessman in this industry, the way I see the business growing. But as a chef, I don't know what is the next fad. I mean, um, I do. We do talk about plant-based, animal-based, and vegan, and all those things. No, for me, it's just keeping it simple and keeping it, understanding the flavors and the quality, the consistency. That's what has worked for us, and keep that going forward.
What's your goal for Food Matters? What's your vision?
The
What's
vision.
next?
um, I don't see. This is my second gig. I got into this business when I was already past 50.
Yeah, this
So
was supposed to be your retirement
so
plan,
this is
right? Yeah.
yeah, but
Really bad
unfortunately, I
idea.
didn't know that this business is not for people who want to retire. This is not a comfortable just invest some money and reap the rewards of this. No, it's a hard work. This business is very hard. It's 24/7, And but there is a feeling of this instant gratitude that you get. There's no other business like this. So it's more like it's an addictive business. Once you do well, you want to do more, or when something goes wrong, you want to fix it. So with the table right now, we are in city of Bombay, Mumbai. So there are a lot more opportunities in this city alone. So I don't even think about um, exploring outside our city. Let's see what happens in 2023.
Let's see. So, lots to look forward to. Some unknown, some known, and obviously you'll hear more about it from me on the show. But we're going to take a quick break before the fun rapid fire, which I'm not letting Jay get away without rather, because there's some very important questions in there for me. See you right after the break.
I have a very funny story. Can I say it? Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
I am Navya's nanny. My name is Jaya Bachchan.
I got nothing over here, guys.
It's a big day for me. Okay, start. What the hell?
I was saying something very nice and empowering and you just interrupted me.
Don't complain. Don't explain. Never explain.
Let me say it.
I have my little secrets. Hello, madam. How are you? I got your number. I told you don't get me started. Mom. When you want to do money pinching, you're also very good. I've seen you. I've noticed. I finished these many books. You're still on your first book. I finished so many books. I'm like, what the hell?
Leave me alone.
Definition of love has changed today. I'm too old for all this. Navya, there's a wonderful lake. Go and jump into it. And drown in it. And she does.
Oh my god, stop.
What are you saying?
What the hell? It's important to have friends.
My best friends have been Navya and Shweta.
Aww. I have a problem saying no.
You better learn. It's the
the
best,
best word.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Okay.
What the hell, Navya?
What the hell, Navya? You're saying this podcast is called What the Hell, Navya? I have at least 3 What the Hell, Navya episodes in a day.
We are back with Jay Yousuf, who is my husband and business partner. And this rapid fire is for completely selfish reasons. So, Jay, first thing that comes to your mind, please say and be honest and remember that we are married. Next holiday destination.
See, my favorite city was Tokyo. Okay, I did get to spend about 6 months there.
Guys, I'm going to Tokyo.
So I want to take you that journey, the culinary journey that country offers. So that's my
Good answer. I'm
Yeah.
up for that.
Tokyo in April. Let's mark that days.
Okay, done. What's next on your bucket list, or one thing on your bucket list, not travel related, but something that you really want to do, you've always wanted to do, and just never got around to it?
That's a tough one. What's on my bucket list? Not part of the business.
Oh, so maybe next
feeling.
time come with me on one of the walks that we do.
Yeah.
What role is your favorite? Jay, the restaurateur, the husband, or father?
That's a tough one.
I know the answer, but I'm going to let you be honest.
That's a tough one. No, I enjoy being father. As you know, I have 3 daughters. And
Which is probably why it's not top of your list.
yeah, and I enjoy being in this relationship. I enjoy having you as my wife. Business-wise, I'm in a good place. Let
No,
me
you
put
have
this
to
way.
pick one. You're being like, I
Um,
mean, I'm not denying how much you enjoy all 3, but come on.
It's a tough one to answer. I mean,
Okay, I'm going to answer it for you. I think it's restaurateur, hands down. You're addicted to this business,
Yeah.
and
Sorry to say
yeah.
to my daughter and my wife who's sitting right in front of me, um, the business has this addictive quality to it. Like I said, instant gratitude. It draws you to be the best. So yeah, of course, I'll pick restaurant.
Fair. What's the best advice you've received from someone?
Just balance it, all three. Don't just because you enjoy a restaurant, um, being a restaurateur, don't neglect the other two.
Actually, someone told me that you can never balance all three and you'll always be better at two out of the three. And accepting that is the best advice I got. So
2 out of 3. Which is that 2 out of 3? Do you want to share
that
with me?
I will leave to your imagination.
Okay.
Okay, and finally, what are you most proud of about yourself?
I'm proud of reaching the stage. I mean, proud of being where I am, where I've come from. I came from a very middle class, conservative family back in Bangalore, and I've seen the world and achieving what I've achieved till today, and being married to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm flattered. Hey, I forgot to mention one highlight of 2022. And for someone who watches him obsessively, I think having Fareed Zakaria at the restaurant, who, by the way, it's on my bucket list to have him as a guest on the show, which I will continue to manifest till I hit the grave. But
No,
he came to the restaurant, and that was a pretty exciting time. We weren't around, but
Yeah. When Gauri
by the way, Jay watches his show GPS
religiously,
obsessively.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So when Gauri, when you started podcast, I told you that day, if you do remember, if you have Fareed Zakaria as your guest, that means you have reached it. You have done your
That's Jay's benchmark
the
of success.
benchmark. So I do love him. He's a very smart generalist, and I agree with him 100% because we have something in common, and I share his views. As an immigrant in that country and what he has achieved, I think he has done a great job to be where he is today.
Well, I'm just excited he came to the table. So
Yes.
anyway, so
I
that
mean,
was our little.
That was yeah. I mean,
he came to your business. He has to come to my business now, which is the podcast.
No,
so.
a hero and someone I look after so highly about, and him being our guest at our restaurant, that was a big achievement. I think we arrived.
Next mission, get him on the show. If you're
Yes.
listening, Mr. Zakaria.
And
Anyway.
he's from Bombay. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Okay, on that note, Jay, thank you for being candid and making the time to come to the studio and see my world. And yeah, that was a fun conversation. And yeah, good luck to us for 2023.
Thank you. And I was quite nervous. I mean, I don't know how you do it.
I made you nervous. Oh
yeah,
my God.
day after day
Wow.
you do with your new different guests. Kudos. Yeah. Good. I mean, it comes. You need. I think you need to be special.
To what? Make it on the show.
Or to make it not to continue the show, and you need to love it. So I think I see you love it, and it has become a second nature for you. Thank you.
Thank you. So here's wishing everyone a fantastic new year, and personally, professionally, spiritually, everything that you have to look forward to, the known and the unknown. And yeah, I hope that for those of you coming to Bombay, we see you at one of our restaurants soon. And if not, keep listening to the show and hit me up on Instagram and let me know what you think. And thank you for tuning in.